So I am a graphic designer for 5-6 years now, and I graduated here in Switzerland, and it just feels naturally for me to design something, because it just sometimes you just have a gift of creating something, and you just want to share it with others, and this is why I started. And the reason why I do it, or who am I, is, as you may can hear, I am from Switzerland. I am turtle mama of 4. Here you can see I have written down of 3, but no, I didn't even written it down. I have 4 turtles. I am located near Zurich Airport in Switzerland. I work full-time in the office, so doTERRA, even though I have a silver team now, is not supporting my business yet, but that's okay. I just do everything on the side, and it's really my passion, but graphic design as well. And I offer services for women in business who want to create their own brand, who want to be aligned, and that's my mission. Beside of running my doTERRA business is to support women in graphic and web design. So what you will learn in this presentation is all about design principles. So I just want to give you a little bit of education, but I also want to talk about color, fonts, and branding. And in the end, we will have the creation process, and I will show you how I do it. And this will be about 30 to 45 minutes, and I can't wait to have you here. So what about the design principles? First of all, if you may have seen my work in the past, or maybe on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you have seen my work, I love to have space. Like in this presentation, I want to have a lot of white space, because white space is so essential throughout everything, your website, visuals, graphics, because if everything is crammed into one place, then it's so noisy. It can be a design principle. Maybe you really want to have a very distractive kind of flyer or website, but most of the time, especially for me, I love a lot of white space, and that everything is just not crammed. And it will, as you're seeing the second bullet point, it will be less distractive. And if you have a core message like my 2 bullet points here, you just have less distraction, and your message will be communicated so much better. And people will be more aligned to it. And if they see a more comprehensive look, or just a flyer, or whatever you'd like to give them as your marketing material, they won't throw it away immediately, and it just feels more apprehensive. So my first rule is leave plenty of room in your design. That's a design I've done for my coaching friend Rue Harris. She's from Australia. She's a coach as well. And as you can see, this is an Instagram post, and the core message is this quote, and it's aligned with her brand color. She has some brownish tones and some bluish tones, and you can see there are a lot of white space around it, and there is her web address, but it doesn't distract from something else. So as a rule, leave plenty of room in your design. As a second one, if you add text, do not cram it into the object. So she could have written like, call me if you'd like to have a 30-minute complimentary call. This is my address. No, it's just, that's something that I've created for her as well. The core message is here. It's a 30-minute complimentary call. Everything else you can put into the box below the image on Facebook, Instagram, wherever. But this is something catchy. You do not have only the image of the plant, you also have everything that you need. It's just white. I love creating like a background. If it's a square or a circle, just put something. It could be more transparent, so this white space could be more transparent and you would see the plant behind it. But now for this stylish element, we just decided let's go for a blank white space so it doesn't get distracted with the background. Harmony. What about harmony? Alignment. You may know alignment of text, center, left, right, or block quote, and you can play with it. My style element is often centered, so I have a centered text, and maybe this is something that you do not want. You may want to have some left center text or right center text. This can be a style element. If you have, say, an image on the left and you want to have text beside it, you may have a left center text. But if you have an image on the right and you want to have text on the left side, you may want to do not have it left centered, but you want to have it right centered, and just play with it. It can be so cool to just try different things and not just sticking all the time with left centered text. And also matching colors. There are some colors that can be very eye-hurting, as we tell it in German. It's, maybe you have seen like a red background and some green text on top of it. Even though they are complementary colors, it just hurt. It hurts my eyes if I see green on red or red on green, or maybe blue and yellow, whatever. There are just some colors. If you have large amount of it, say I would have designed this presentation with a blue background and now I would write on top of it with yellow, that's just too much. So please do not overwhelm your clients or just your feed or whatever you want to create. Do not overwhelm it with not matching colors. What I recommend, I will show you just in a second, is Adobe Color. Adobe Color is free. You can just search for Adobe Color in Google, and then it will show you this page. And it's free. You can choose, what you can't see on this image is at the bottom, you can choose which color you'd like. If you have brand colors, for example, and you know the hex code. The hex code is this hashtag and then 6 digits of numbers. And this is the exact color every time you use it. So there are some RGB colors. RGB means red, green, and blue. And you have 256 times 3, not times 3, I do not know the word in English, but it's over 2 million colors. So whatever your computer, your screen can show, this is the amount of different colors that exist. But we can't print, our printers aren't available or aren't able to print 2.6 million different colors. So this is why you may have seen in the past SMIC colors. SMIC is cyan or cyan is more of a bluish tone, yellow, magenta is purple red, and K is for key. Key is like the true black, so SMYK, CMYK, and this range is about 3,000 to 5,000 colors, and printers can print this. And in Adobe Color, you will see the RGB for screen and SMYK, both numbers, like the exact numbers. And if you have a designer like me, I will ask you, do you have brand colors? And what is the hex code of your brand color? And then you can give me this exact number, and your flyer or whatever you will create will look most of the time the same. I say most of the time because every screen, if you do not calibrate it, every screen looks a bit different. And for example, I had a photographer talking about this, and he said he had a yellowish tone over all his photos. He made a composition, and everyone was asking him, hey, why do you create your photos in this yellowish tone? And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. So his screen wasn't calibrated, and he just didn't know. It was the way he designed his images and graphics, and he didn't know that his screen has to be updated, and everyone else was seeing something different because they had a different screen. So this is why I say you may have the exact color, but you may not have it on another screen. So I always love to double check on my MacBook, for example, or on my iPad or my iPhone, just to have a sense of look, because every screen is a bit different. Let me just grab a quick sip of water. So what about colors? So there are, as you may have seen here in the previous image, there are some different kind of styles, or how Adobe puts together their color palette, and you can play with it too. So analogous colors are groups of 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, sharing a common color, with one being the dominant color. So which tends to be a primary or a secondary color. So the primary ones are red, green, and blue on computers, and in like the offline world, it's blue, yellow, and red. Yeah, I think so. So it's a bit different on a screen. And monochromatic is different shades. Monochromatic, we often refer to it as the black and white, but it's just a single hue, and you may have different kind of blues that gets lighter and lighter. So it's just one kind of a shade. And there's also the triad. Triad is, if you see the color wheel, let's go back, the color wheel, a triad would be yellow, blue, and red. So it's like, yeah, like a triad. And it will take the color that you have chosen, and then it will go into choosing a triad color, the exact, yeah, that's just something that they calculate in the background. That's why Adobe Color is so powerful. We have compound, mixed colors, shades. So if you have a red, then it will show you all kind of different shapes, not shapes, shades. And the complementary colors are colors that I have mentioned before. It's the opposite on the color wheel. So if you know, I'm not sure in the US or in Australia, but we have the brand Fanta. Fanta is this orange, sparkling water with orange taste. Orangina, Fanta. And if you check out their brand, it's blue. It's a blue etiquette or a blue paper around the bottle, and yellow, yellow font. So if you see here, we have blue and we have yellow. So it's complementary. You can also have some green and red. That's okay too, as long as you do not make it more extreme. If you know the brand Guarana or the bottle with Guarana, I think it's a green bottle, but with a slight font color of red. So just have a look around popular brands and just see the color wheel, and then you realize, hey, there are so many common things that you didn't even know that they exist, but they do. As mentioned in the text, they create the strongest contrast for those particular two colors. Just make sure that you do not put too much of one color in one place and then maybe a red background and a big green circle. That's just too much. But you can just add it with, as mentioned before, a font color, and that can be really interesting. And that's the way I design. Color, just make sure when I design, create social media designs, I often just create social media designs at the moment, and I always make sure that they are brand aligned. If you do not have decided on colors yet, that's okay, but whenever you have decided on colors, make sure that you use the colors and use the colors that are for your brand, and people will recognize your style immediately. If you follow Melissa Imbersini, for example, you just know on her Instagram stories, she has this brownish tone and she has the same font, and you just know that it's Melissa. And I always recommend brighter colors over darker colors. It's just more appealing. And if you scroll through someone's Instagram feed, you realize that lighter colors or brighter images are much more appealing than darker ones. And Adobe Color was called Adobe Color in the past. This can be a helpful tool, as explained before. Just have a play with it, and also with your current brand colors. Maybe you want to have some shades and you do not know the exact number of this shade, like the hex code or the SMIC code, and Adobe Color or Color as it was called in the past is a great help. Fonts, it's the same. Stay brand aligned. Use the fonts you have. If you do not know which fonts to use, go to Font Squirrel, Creative Market, The Font. There are so many font libraries or resources out there. Just make sure to use a font that is also allowed to use for commercial use, so you do not harm any copyright issues, or you could get sued, I think, if they realize, hey, you have a really big advertisement at the TV, and they realize, hey, that's our font and you haven't paid for a license. So just make sure that you always check if it's for commercial use or not. Every site that is not serious site, I don't know the word in English, but it's just, if it's a popular site that sells fonts, you will always have those information, so you won't get screwed. So no worries. Fontpair.co is also a great tool for more popular fonts. If you use, for example, Lado or Montserrat font, then you can have a play with it and just see which fonts are great to use in combination with those popular fonts. So just have a look in through this page, fontpair.co. And for me in the past, I had clients asking me, hey, do you know which fonts work very well with the other one? And this is just a resource beside Pinterest. Pinterest is a great tool as well to search for inspiration. So if all things fail, just go to Pinterest. Pinterest is my biggest resource. And as mentioned before, Creative Market, I'm also an affiliate of Creative Market. I love sharing all products from Creative Market. So I'm not biased, it's just really great. For example, this one I just saw yesterday, that someone is selling different fonts, and they also have created some logos. So there are so many things that you can purchase on Creative Market, not just fonts, but here is an overview. As you can see, between $15 to $25. Maybe it could be even more, but I say if you pay $15 for over 200 fonts, that's crazy. Normally, as you can see, the Santorini font alone is $17, and you pay the creative or the creator directly. So Creative Market takes a cut of the sale. That's just the way they do it. But these are all products of someone else and from a freelancer, or just, it's a creative platform, and you can have fonts, you can purchase images. There are so many things that you can buy on Creative Market, and it's just highly recommended. I can share a link with you if you'd like, and you will also, everything with the recording, I will put every link into it so you can have a play with it. And I just stopped sharing my screen. Just a second. And now we will go, thank you for watching my face. I will just hop on Canva. Let me share my screen with Canva. So here we go. Canva is the tool that I use for creating my social media graphics. As you can see, my designs are here. I have different client projects. I have something for the Terra as well. As a graphic designer, I use Photoshop and Illustrator. And Canva is something for me to quickly design something. I do not use Canva for work. Because I pay Adobe every year, I just use everything that they offer. But if you have Canva for work, you can upload your own fonts, you can create color palettes, as you can see here in the brand kit. You could have multiple palettes with Canva for work. You can upload your logo, your fonts, and your own fonts as well. So you aren't limited to the fonts of Canva, even though they have a lot. Maybe you have a special font that you want to use. And here you would also see all your uploaded fonts. I've just used the free version of Canva, and for me that's enough. And just let's open my recent project so you can see what's possible. So whenever you open a new project, this would be blank, but you could also use different kind of templates, and Canva is really good in creating templates. And as you can see, there are these little buttons. This is called free. Some templates are with a dollar sign. This means maybe the background isn't free, but in Canva, if you'd like to purchase something, everything is $1. So this could be worth, if you'd like to have something and create it in Canva, I just use everything free. I use my own images and that's it. Just have a play with it. So if we say, let's create a new page, that's, for example, the one that I have created for this presentation right now. And it's just a simple image on the back with a border, a big font, a sub font, and that's it. And if you'd like to add some text, you can go to the left-hand side and open text. You already have some templates here as well. Or you can go and add a heading. Say, this is come along to my event. And if you'd like to change it, that was a shortcut, Command A or Control A if you're on a PC, to just choose everything. And on the top, you have all the fonts that are available in Canva. And as you can see, here are already fonts at the top because I have used in my whole document other fonts. I do not have to go through this list over and over again. So if I'd like to choose the same font as above, I can just use the League Gothic. And this is in small letters. This is big letters. So here at the top, you can make it uppercase or lowercase. So that's a style element that you can use as well. You can change the size of the font, color. If you'd like to make it bold, italic, center, left, or right aligned, as talked before. You could even have some bullet points if you'd like to make a list. And you can also have letter spacing. So that's the space between letters. You can't, unfortunately, just say, hey, I'd like to have it at a 10. So you just have to put it left or right. Or line height. Line height is if you have two sentences, you have this space in between, but maybe this is just too much for you. So you choose everything and you lower the line height. So just have a play with it. That's a style element too. You can, if you see, I have this little cross, I can align my text into center or even more on the center. That's the very center you can have. If I'd like to put it just at the top, at the center, and now I'd like to add a photo, I can go to uploads here in the left-hand corner, and you can see there are already images that I have uploaded. If I'd like to upload more, I can just click upload your own images or drag and drop them in here. If I click on upload, it will open the regular menu from my computer, and I could just put in the images that I need. What I like to do before I place an image, because if I drag it in here, it's just here, I have to drag it around. What I love to do is go to elements, go to grids, and here you can see there is a grid for one photo. I put it in here. Now my text is covered. So if you go on the right top, you can see a range. And then I move it backwards, and now here's my text. So if you have multiple layers of fonts, maybe a square or a circle and a photo, you can just move it around. That's a bit of Photoshop-like, where you always work with layers. So let's just drag in a photo. And as you now can see, if I hover over this grid element, it aligns perfectly. If I want to move it around, I just double click and it will show me the whole image, and I say, hey, I want to show this part of the image. I could even make it bigger just to have more of detail. And then I just can go to the tick, okay, or just click enter. And now I can move this around or center it again. It doesn't always have to be centered. And that's it. So you can have a play with it. You can have different kind of elements. There are also frames. If you'd like to have a frame, say like this. If you want to incorporate something, or a circle with a text, that's something that you could do. Make it bigger and just put something in it. Again, as you can see now here, maybe this is just a little button and you'd like to place it in here. You want to make your font a bit smaller, move it around, wait until you see the cross, and now I hover it on top of here and you can see the lines. Again, it is now perfectly aligned in the middle of this image, but as you can see, it's at the back. I go to arrange, forward, and now it's on top. If I'd like to have this one behind this image, this big image, I would go and say, click on the big image and say forward or backward. So that's just a bit of a style element as well. So there are so many things that you can do with Canva, and that's most of the time I just use this one for creating quick Instagram posts. And there are also icons. You could search for images, like if you'd like to have a heart, say a heart. Here you have heart shapes, and free is always free. And there are also images, and sometimes there are some images or icons for pro version, so you may have to pay for it. Just decide whatever suits you best. So I think Canva for Work is $10 a month or so. So if you do not want to invest in Photoshop or so because it's very expensive, then maybe $10 a month is very suitable for you. This is for social media icons. If you'd like to create different kind of images or flyers or Facebook header, then they have this create a design section, and if you click to browse all, you see you have the exact measurements or the optimum, I don't know the word, you see the pixels below it. And for Instagram, for example, this is just a perfect size and nothing gets cut on your phone. And social media, you see it's a bit smaller than the Instagram post. So just have a look into it. And I see that's even WhatsApp story, and there's Snapchat geo filter. I haven't even checked all the possibilities, or for Pinterest. There are so many great things that you could use. Calendar, photo book. Just have a look through all the possibilities here. And if you go to home, let me check. Here at the top right corner, you see custom dimensions. If you know that you have to decide something with custom dimensions, you can change it in here. In pixels, inches, millimeters, or centimeters. Just be aware, if you are not a pro user, you can't resize it if you have created the image. So you may have to go back and create another one and maybe recreate what you have done. That's a bit disappointing, but Canva just wants that you pay for the feature. what I also want to talk about today is, or just as a little resource, is image resource. I use for my doTERRA business, I often use just like the official doTERRA site, and they go to our products, say single oils or just a blend, or whatever product I want to show. Say I want to show cedarwood. And then you can scroll down, and here you can see everything about the product. And if you scroll down, you see the high resolution image. And if you click on it, it will show you the high resolution image, and you just can right click and save the image on your filer or on your desktop, and then you can use it. And the background that they use is pure white. So if you want to create a graphic here and you use the plain white background, it won't show you some edges. What I create with Photoshop is I just choose only the bottle, and then I make a mask, and so I can move it around. So it's like the background is erased. So that's just a tool that I can use with Photoshop. That's not possible in Canva. Maybe with GIMP, I'm not sure. I'm just used to Photoshop since my graduation in graphic school. So just know that whenever you choose to use an image of essential oils or maybe a blend, let's see, for On Guard, you want to show the beadlets or soft gels, you always have this high resolution image. And for if you just want to create something different from doTERRA, I recommend Unsplash. Unsplash is a good resource of free images, high resolution images. You can filter for so many different kind of topics, and they are free to use as well. And if you say, hey, the style of this image, I really like this style, and click on it, you always have some more recommendations at the bottom. Maybe this mountain background wallpapers, you love mountains, and if you scroll down, you also have some other collections down there. Sometimes there are just similar images down there. So just have a look into it. And the paid feature, the paid site is Kate Max Stock. That's what I use. They have a pretty strict license. So if you do not pay the yearly fee, I think it's about $300 US dollars, then you can't use it in the future. So if I'd like to have this image here, and next year I decide to do not pay for my license, they ask you to take it down. But if you just pay for it, then you will have access to monthly themes. So like this month it's the Floral Traveler. You could say you'd like to have a mock-up of, or the category. I really love categories with lifestyle. Say we want to have some images for lifestyle, and they have different kind of bundles. You could purchase these images for each, but I think you pay about $10 for one image. But if you'd like to have access to everything for a year, that's a very good resource, and I really love her style. And so a lot of images that you see online or that you may have seen in the presentation today is from Kate Max Stock, and it's just worth the investment. If you're just starting out, I recommend Unsplash or doTERRA with their own images. And if you have seen the posts from doTERRA on Facebook, Instagram, wherever they are posting something, I have read that you can use their images as well. So if you see a cool composition of different oils, or maybe the emotion oils, then you can use their images as well. So just share it with your friends, with your family, just put your own text on top, or just make your own Facebook or Instagram posts. And that's just how I do it. That's how I design images. I have my fonts in mind, I have my colors in mind. I search for free images online or on Creative Market. Creative Market is so good, and I know I support other creatives by purchasing their product, and I know that they love what they are doing, and I love what I do, or my clients love what I do as a designer. And yeah, I am so passionate about this topic. As you may have seen, I normally in the morning, if I speak English, my mother tongue is German, I just can't get that fast. But now I just realized I'm so passionate about this topic. And I have had a previous Canva masterclass. I will also share a link with you where I create a step-by-step image with Canva, so you may learn more about the functions of Canva as well. And for this masterclass, I just wanted to thank you for being here and for listening to my knowledge, or just hearing my knowledge. And I can't wait to share more about it. If you need help with social media graphics, or just designing something for your brand, you can always come to me. I'm really happy to support you, not only in your doTERRA team, but also for your images. I'm also a web designer, but at the moment I have a full client base at the moment, so I'm just not taking on more clients until June this year. But just that you know, web and graphic design is my jam, besides doTERRA and working in the office as an administration consultant. That's just who I am. And thank you for being here. And whenever you have something, come back to me. Have a lovely month. Let's get this business started together, and can't wait to see you next time.